Good morning, beautiful souls. Good afternoon, good night, whenever you're watching this. Welcome to another video. Today's message is it is time to rewrite your story. It is time to rewrite your story with yourself. It is time to rewrite your story with others. It is time to rewrite your story with the universe. It is time to change contracts. It is time to reverse storylines. And it is time to decide for yourself what it is that you want to do and what you want to accomplish in this life. It is time to stop being passive with your life. It is time to stop being passive with your power. It is time to stop being passive with yourself. It is time to stop ignoring the things that Spirit has been telling you it is time to do. It is time to stop ignoring the signs and the symptoms of things that are happening around you. It is time to stop accepting the story of defeat and frustration and accepting this idea that you cannot change or things around you cannot change. It is time to stop accepting the story that your life cannot change, that it is the way it is for a reason. It is time to take your power out of the hands of other people, out of the hands of a supreme force that you have installed over your own life. Yes, there is divinity, and yes, the divine guides us and leads us along a path and a direction, but you still have the power to decide where you will go and what you will do. Everything that comes up for you is purely guidance, and you choose whether or not to accept it. You can either realize that that guidance is for your highest good and go in that direction, or you can choose to ignore it and continue to fail. I feel as though there is someone watching who may have all that they need financially. They may have all the acclimates and all the, the high-end job that they have always wanted or pursued. Someone who has risen themselves through the ranks and they're finally at the top. And you should be happy, but you're not. And what Spirit is saying is it is time for a change. You may have gotten all the way here only to realize this is not at all what you wanted. But instead of deciding to make a change, you have stayed here. You have stayed stagnant because you refuse to believe that you have a choice, that you can change anything at this point. Or you've refused to accept that any life beyond this could even fulfill you. Right? If this life in the matrix, or if this life in abundance and richness doesn't serve you, then why would any other lifestyle serve you or help you? Right? And it is time to stop being stagnant and comfortable. It is time to stop giving up and deciding that this story, a story that others have told you, a story that you have told yourself, that is the truth and that is the only way it can be. What story are you telling yourself about your current situation? What story are you telling yourself about who you are? Are you refusing to leave a path because your parents set you out on that path, and that therefore is the only way you can go? Have you always been told your entire life that you are a failure and you will amount to nothing, and so that is your story? It is time to reconnect the parts of yourself that have been distributed and energetically thrown and cast aside. It is time to rejoin the parts of yourself that have been in conflict for too long, right? Do you have a side of yourself that comes up in times of trauma that is meant to help protect you, but instead, or further along in life, what once protected you now isolates you? What once helped you against traumatic parents or traumatic family and friends or people in your life that were always against you, what made you tough and what made you strong in that time, and what was meant to protect your inner child is now isolating you from creating the life that you desire? Is there a part of you where your inner child, or part of your inner child that, struggles with believing in themselves, and now years later you still struggle with that? You struggle to believe in yourself even though you're no longer that child. And this is about rejoining the parts of yourselves that have been created out of trauma, out of pain, or out of even good, and bringing them together. And they will have conflict, but it is time to recognize the purpose that each of those parts serve. But it is also time to re-establish what those parts are meant to do. If you have a part of yourself that has been built up to protect you and defend you from, and that means that you are more abrasive and more conflictive, and like you are very argumentative, and now in this point in your life that is not serving you, it is actually hurting you, because instead of listening and hearing what is being said, or instead of taking criticism constructively, you immediately flare up out of anger and frustration, and you're not hearing what spirit needs you to hear. You're not hearing, even within your own self, when your guides and your angels are trying to give you criticism that is meant to elevate you and bring you into a new level, in a space where you are meant to be looking introspectively so that you can grow and evolve. You are instead at conflict within yourself, and you refuse to listen to the things that are meant to help you grow. And now you're in this place where you're miserable and you're struggling and you're frustrated, but it's because you refuse to accept the guidance that you are receiving, because there is still a part of you that feels like anything that comes against your current state of mind or your current energy is meant to harm you. But that is no longer the case. So it is time for you to rewrite your story with that part of yourself and tell yourself that, hey, that is no longer my truth. That is no longer the situation I am in. And I thank you for defending me and protecting my inner child. But now I need you to stand down. Now I need you to only come out in times of true conflict. Not whenever you perceive that there is conflict, but whenever there is true conflict. And you tell that part of yourself that you are now reassigned a new purpose, so that I can move and elevate and grow in the way that I need to. And for many of you, it is about rewriting a contract with the universe. Right? Recognizing that the life that you have grown up with, whatever it may have been, whether it has been traumatic, abusive, whatever it may be, accepting that that was a part of your story and it has brought you to where you are now, and whatever purpose it has served is the purpose that it has served, and it is complete. Recognizing that having a narcissistic parent was meant to help you be more empathetic. Realizing that being stolen from served its purpose, so now you know how valuable it is to give or how valuable it is to remain vigilant and remain aware. But you do not continue in that story perpetually. You do not continue in that paradigm perpetually. It is time to shift. It is time to change the story. Yes, this happened with my parents. Yes, this happened with my family. Yes, we no longer speak, but I recognize the purpose that this served and I let it go. I release it. And now, with who I am in this current state, I am creating a very new and different story where I am not defensive and argumentative. I am wary. I am perceptive. I am calm. I am aware, but I am not abrasive. I am able to perceive the intentions of other people, but I do not allow my fear and distrust to keep me from forming relationships that might actually help me. When I perceive that something is not correct, that is when I disconnect, but I do not stop a relationship from forming before it even happens. I may have been told that being artistic or being creative was a flaw that would not earn me any money. But in this current state of life, where I know that the corporate 9-to-5 and the corporate world and this current job and this current positioning is not serving me, therefore I make this new story and I create this new story that I can make money and I can be abundant and I can pay my bills doing exactly what I desire and exactly what brings me joy. And my creativity is not a hindrance to me. It is my aid. It is my support. It is my support beam, right? Recognizing that this wheel of fortune does not have to continue going forward in this same path. Recognizing that I can jump on to a new wheel of fortune. I can shift onto a new wheel of fortune, a new path in life if I need to. Recognizing that if I'm saying that I do not like this thing and I do not enjoy doing this thing, that I do not have to. That I am not bound to anything or anyone unless I allow myself to be. Recognizing that even though things may be difficult or may be hard, that the shift in my mindset and the shift in my own perception and paradigm is the first step to shifting what I see in this 3D reality, because what I see with my 3D eyes is not reality. Reality is within, reality is in the mind. Everything out here is moldable and shapeable. It is merely a dream. It is merely a dream. Recognizing that everything that is and was and shall be all started in the mind of creation, in the mind of the creator. And I am a creator. I am a magician. I have the power to create and to form and to mold and to change. If I declare today that I am ending this cycle and I rewrite my contract with the universe and tell the universe that I am making money in the ways that bring me joy, in the ways that bring me abundance, knowing that that declaration has to shift everything out here because it has already shifted in here. Recognizing that I am only a part of the matrix or the problem if I choose to be. And for some people listening, this is going to sound esoteric and weird, and you are going to be triggered or frustrated or annoyed by this. And you will dislike or click off the video, and nothing will change for you. And some of you will say, I've tried this and it hasn't worked. That means that your shifts, your mindset shifts, wasn't a permanent shift. Because we think that because we do this affirmation or this meditation for 10 minutes in a day, that suddenly our lives are going to change. You have lived your entire life under one story that is years, decades, hours, minutes, seconds of conditioning that you cannot undo in 10 minutes. Just as creating your new story is not going to take 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes in a single day. It is a shift, a continual shift. It is a continual change. It is a continual paradigm change. It is you telling yourself exactly the story that you need to hear every single moment, every single day, every single week, every single month until it happens out here. Because it begins in here. And if you truly believe it in here, then the universe has no choice but to activate it out here. So start up here. What needs to shift? What needs to change? What is your current story, and what is the story that you desire? What is the story that you want? You can journal it. Actually, definitely journal it. Definitely write it. Put it up and look at it every single day, every single hour, whatever it may be, until you believe that so strongly that you have to see it in your 3D. It is time for the light workers and the light beings and the beings who are fed up of the old ways of doing things to step up mentally, step up in their mind, and choose change. Because you are looking to change things on a grand level, or you are looking to see change on a grand level, but the change begins in yourself. The change begins in your mind. So, for example, for myself, I'm going to be open. A lot of my struggle and my pain lies financially. And even a week ago, I would have been doing Instacart orders to earn money. And there's nothing wrong with doing Instacart. But for myself, it has been clear for some time, in the past few months especially, that is not the truth that I want. That is not what I want to be my truth. That is not what I want to be my income source. My income source comes through my spiritual work. My income comes through bookings, comes through coaching, comes through spell jars that I may create. It comes through from whatever I am guided to do on a spiritual path. And that is the new contract that I have written with the universe. I have literally written it down, and I've signed it, and I've dated it. And I've stated to the universe, no longer when I need money will I go to do Instacart, because that is not my truth. It makes me miserable after some time, especially when I'm doing it when I don't want to do it. it takes up resources like gas, and my car needs maintenance. And I do not trust using my vehicle, which is also my home, as the thing that brings me money. Because if it breaks down, there goes my home and there goes my work. And I do not resonate with that. I don't. Therefore, I'm telling the universe that my spiritual work, the path of doing tarot readings, doing channeled messages, doing, nature walks, doing meditations, whatever I am guided to do on a natural energy, that is what will bring me income and abundance. Now, I do have bills. I do have things that need to get paid. And I see the emails every day. I don't really get phone calls because, but I see the emails every day. And those emails about late payments, cancellations, whatever, they can easily shift my paradigm back. And I can choose to go in a place of fear and anxiety and frustration and try to work myself like a dog to make that money, knowing that I can't, because I've known for some time that the money that I need for those bills is not going to come through Instacart. We are way past that point. It can only come through spiritual means. I am beyond the point where my natural efforts will do anything for my situation. And I recognize that, and I'm saying to Spirit, you know what? It is in your hands. But I will not detach myself from my spiritual path and my destiny and the path that I know is divine because it is divinely guided, to go back to what served me last season, because it has dried up already. And this season is different. And I have felt that shift. And I know that shift. And I recognize it. Therefore, why would I dare go against what Spirit has already shown me to go back to what was comfortable last season for some hope of relief, when I know within myself it's not going to happen, because that is no longer the timeline or the story that I'm on. Spirit has even cut off people that I've been able to help through doing that. And Spirit has also cut off people that have helped me as well. But at the same time, Spirit has also reintroduced people and has already gotten me bookings, has already enforced new forms of income for me through past friends in new ways, in new energies. So for myself, I know in the past that I have gone back to what was comfortable, whether it be a job that I know I disliked, or whether it be applying for jobs in this season, or last season, or whether it be doing Instacart, because I would know that it would get me some form of relief, some kind of money. But I know in this season that is not the same energy that this season carries. So I can't go back to that. And even if I did, it would not work. Even if I did get an order or two on Instacart or whatever, or if I did get the call back for a job, which I haven't, Spirit has literally brought me to a space where I can either shift my paradigm and say that I am doing this and this alone, or I am going to keep trying to fight against the current and suffer and struggle even more and even worse, right? So what are you struggling against? What has Spirit already told you that your story is, but you keep fighting against it? It's like fighting against an ocean wave. It is tumultuous, it is heavy, it is painful, and after hours of fighting and fighting against that current, you, or days or months or years, however long it has been for you, you are going to be absolutely destroyed. What are you fighting against? Why are you fighting against yourself? Because Spirit will not give you a new story or will not introduce a new paradigm for you that is not meant to serve you or help you. It is still, though, in your hands. It is still your choice what you choose to follow. As I said, for me, my old paradigm was that I would work 2 jobs, 90 plus hours a week, just to get by, even though I hated it and it made me miserable. And I would do Instacart on the side just to make more money. And I would work and work and work. I would be drinking energy drink after energy drink after energy drink in a day. My tolerance wasn't already like so high because, for one, caffeine doesn't really affect me much anyway. So I was just adding more and more terrible chemicals into my body for no reason, just for the idea that it was helping me. And for the time that I was in that paradigm, it served me, but I was still struggling, right? And then in October of last year, I was literally told this is the time to leave this job that I was at. I had gone up to a new level in that job. Literally, I'd only been in that position for about 3 months. The shortest time, besides like a few jobs, but the shortest time I've ever been in a position like that. But it was a management position, and I have always been ambitious. I've always moved up in companies. I've always excelled because I get bored once I know everything here. I want to go up. So it only made sense, even though I was miserable, even though I hated the job already that I was doing, it only made sense that I would just keep going up. And then this is the first time this has ever happened to me, but I moved up to a position that was higher, where I wanted to learn more and do more, and it was worse. It was more stifling. It was suffocating for me. Something as simple as traveling from one store to the next, which is something I'd already been doing, and I like moving around, it should be fine, did not feel good at all. I hated it. And it's like, well, I'm not on a store level anymore. I'm not on a single store. I'm on a management corporate level. This should be better. I hated it. And then on top of that, the challenge that I desired of learning more, doing more, wasn't there. I was taught 1 or 2 things, and I instantly from day one, I instantly recognized this is not the role for me. From day one, as soon as I started in the position, I was like, this is not it. But instead of saying, okay, you know what, guys, I can't do this, my people pleaser self was like, well, if I just stay for a few more weeks, I just need to get used to it. I became more and more unhappy over the course of those several months. It was noticeable, because anyone who worked with me before knew how positive and upbeat I could be. Despite me not enjoying the job, I still presented to people with joy and excitement because they were my friends. But now in this new level, I was isolated from the people that I knew. No one regarded me as their equal anymore. Now I was supposed to know more than everyone else, but I didn't, because no one was training me or teaching me. And I, for the first time, even though I had been miserable and frustrated, no, I had been frustrated before. I had felt bored before, but now I was straight up miserable. This was the first time, I think. Before, I had been numb to everything, and I was just working and working and working, just I was just like single-minded, kind of a zombie, you know, just waiting for things to get better or easier. But this time, for the first time ever, I was straight up miserable. And I, like, only a few weeks in, I was telling my friends, I was like, I need to leave. And, you know, of course, people being people, they're like, well, maybe if you just stay a little bit longer, it might be easier. Stayed a little bit. I can't do this. And for me, it was so perplexing because it was like, I know that I can do this. I've worked 2 jobs before. Long hours should not be difficult for me or shouldn't be a struggle for me. And I'm working less hours now. I've traveled around before from store to store. Why is this bothering me now? Things that shouldn't have bothered me. Like, the job itself wasn't difficult, but why was I failing? Why was I struggling so much? This is something I should be able to do. Past me would have been able to do it, but suddenly, because I had shifted, it wasn't comfortable for me. It wasn't easy for me. It felt suffocating for me, and I was miserable. I was frustrated, and it came to the point in October, because I got the job in end of June, July. In October, I literally wrote my email out. My letter of resignation was already written. I wrote my email to my boss because I knew that he would see it at the end of the weekend on the Monday. And I scheduled it, and it went through. I was anxious. I was panicking. As soon as I sent it, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And within 2 weeks, I was done. I think I gave them like a 3-week notice, but within that time, I was done. And I packed up all my stuff because the lease was about to end with my roommates, and I let my landlord know, hey, I'm leaving. Anything after this, my roommates are responsible for it. I have paid my last portion of bills. I've paid my last portion of rent, and with very little money and maybe 1 or 2 more paychecks that were left to come through, I moved into my vehicle and I left the state. I went to West Virginia, and again, all of this is on my travel channel, on Travels of a Sunflower. But I had never done anything like this in my life. But yeah, it was more right and more correct for me, and it felt better for me than everything I'd been doing before. Even things like going to college, it was something I felt I needed to do because I had always believed I wanted to become a doctor. But as soon as I had worked and experienced the medical field in a hospital, because I did work in a hospital for a few weeks, I hated it. I hated the energy there. It was it was soul-sucking, and I couldn't. And it's like, literally, I had shifted along so many different times, and I wasn't aware at the time that I was shifting, but it was like all these shifts were like shaking up my reality so drastically, where I'm like, but this is something I wanted to do my whole life. Why don't I want to do it anymore? This is something I've been good at forever. Why am I not good at it anymore? And now, this latest shift into this new year especially, it's like, but literally, I have bills, I need to get food, I need to do all this stuff. Instacart, why isn't Instacart working for me anymore? I was making hundreds of dollars just last month. But I moved, I changed states. I did get a little bit of abundance there, but it was slower. There was more competition. I had more time to think. And it was like, I was aware that I had been saying for a while, I don't want to do Instacart, I don't want to do Instacart, I don't want to do Instacart, but I never done anything to stop doing Instacart because Instacart was my way of making money. Why would I stop doing that? And then I come back to Sedona, and I am guided to not do Instacart. And a close friend of mine needed money. I didn't have any money in my account, or else I would have given it to her. And this made no sense to me, but I didn't feel guided to do Instacart. After the call, I did open it, but I didn't get any orders. There were no orders. And the next day, no orders again. And then it got to the point where my gas was so low, I couldn't do orders even if I wanted to. But suddenly there was this conflict with this friend, and the relationship is done. Out of nowhere. It's done. And it's like, okay, this is really strange. And it's hurtful and it's painful, but it's done. And I got a last cent of money from a friend who owed me. The last bit of what they owed me, they finally paid me in a lump sum. I was able to get food. I was able to do laundry. I was able to get my basic needs done. I got food for my cat. And now I'm back down here. And it's like Spirit is looking at me and saying, so what are you going to do now? Are you going to go back to do Instacart? You have all your bills that are still due. You have all these things that you need to make money for. What are you going to do? And it's at this point where I'm looking at Spirit and I'm saying, well, I'm not going to do Instacart. Why should I? Why should I do Instacart? I'm not going to. Even if this ends up, like my gas ends up going close to empty, I will find a spot. Now, I know I need money for cat food. I know I need money for cat litter. I know I need money for my own food. I can go like a day or two without food. It's not a big deal. But I'm literally saying, I'm like staring down the universe and I'm saying, I am going to have faith and I'm going to trust that this new story that I'm creating right now, that I'm going to make money through my spiritual practice, through doing tarot readings for people, that is the way that I'm making income and nothing is going to change my mind. And it almost feels like Spirit is going to bring me to the very edge of that and test me and see if I will. But even after going 2 days without food and being in a really tight spot, Spirit actually brought me an opportunity. It's not right this moment, it's going to be next week. But Spirit brought me a whole opportunity. And it's like, you know what, Spirit? I trust you. I'm not going to go back to Instacart because I know how my heart feels about that. I'm not going to put my car in jeopardy. I'm not going to put myself in jeopardy. I've had like joint pain and all these things associated with carrying heavy loads. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to partake in that because I know it hurts me. And I've been getting all these little inklings along the way from Spirit of like, this is not what you're supposed to be doing and you know it. But I was doing it to maintain a level of comfort for myself, maintain a level of generosity for my friend, and now that has literally been cut off for myself. It's cut off. The last bit of help that I would have been asking for because the person owed me has now ended, because Spirit has literally cut off all the things and it's challenging me. Are you going to stick to the new script that you have written? Are you going to stick to this new desire that you have, or are you going to get afraid and get scared and gonna go back and do the thing that makes you miserable and going to suffer through against the current of knowing what you're supposed to be doing? And I know this is a very long-winded message, and I don't even think I'm going to be shuffling. I'm going to do a pick a card reading next. But it's like, me and Spirit are looking at each other, and it's like, I'm choosing to live in this story, in this paradigm right now. And I'm not going back. I refuse. I refuse. I refuse. I refuse. And I'm excited to see how Spirit shows up for me. And if you would like to book with me, all the details are in the description bar below. I have cleaned it up a bit because everything that was there was not really what I was guided to do. It was based off of another format and someone else's version. So if you visit www.sunflowernay.com, there are two options right there for shorter readings and longer readings, and you can literally book with any form of payment from there right there, and you'll get a confirmation email first saying that your payment has been received, and then I will follow up and clarify. And with those two options, I do say one, of course, to choose which thing you're doing. For the longer readings, I only go by time, so you can ask as many questions as you want to. Or if you have a single question, I'll keep breaking down and seeing what comes up for me. The shorter readings are by question, and they're like 3 to 5 minutes. So again, if you'd like to book with me, those options are there. But I also ask you on those to specify how you want to receive your reading. So if you want to receive your reading by a pre-recorded message, you can. If you are within the United States and you want me to just text you like a voice recording or a link to the video or whatever, let me know that. If you have WhatsApp and you want to communicate through WhatsApp, so be it. If you want to get on a call, we can do that as well. Just note that for shorter readings or longer readings, we are going to set a timer. If I'm guided to go above that, I will, but it is up to your discretion after that if you choose to kind of reimburse me for the time after that. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go ahead and upload this video now, and then gonna get started on the pick a card reading that I have set up for you guys. So thank you so much for watching. I look forward to your bookings, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. Thank you.